Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Lucid dreaming. Father, I want to ask you to come into this message tonight. Make it not only worthwhile, but very helpful and useful for us to be a little more open to what you're saying to us personally and to the world. We pray it in the name of Yahshua HaMashiach. Amen. Lucid dreaming, lucid dreaming. I had my first lucid dream when I was probably 18, 19. And it wasn't much of one. But what it contained was religious material. It was coming up from the ocean in a boat toward the shore. And everything was in vivid technicolor. I didn't realize that I was dreaming at that time. It wasn't until later on in this little dream that at the end of it, I realized, hey, I'm dreaming. And that's what lucid dreaming is. It's a dream in which you are in complete control. You know you are dreaming, and therefore you can act in the dream just as if you were awake. A lucid dream, that term is equivalent to out-of-body experience. For me, I saw a lonely beach, nothing there but sand and a beautiful colored sky, and just like it was in the tropics, just like here in Florida. And as I was coming into shore, I saw a group of people running toward me from what appeared to be a little village up the road, up the beach a ways. And there were probably 30 or 40 people. And as they got closer and closer, I began to get afraid because I didn't know what I was doing there, and I had no intention of being there. And I didn't know I was in a dream yet either until a little later. But as they got closer, I couldn't get away because I was in a boat. They began to take on faces. And I began to recognize the faces. And the faces of those people were my ancestors, recently departed in the last 40, 50 years. Some of them I'd seen in pictures, but I'd never met. They were long gone before I came around, but I knew them anyway. And some of them I'd never seen before, but I knew them anyway. And as I finally got up to the shore, they came up and welcomed me there. And I saw these ones that had been praying for me during my life and other ones that hadn't, but the ones that had kind of lit up. And I saw a few people there that had not died yet, but are dead now, but may be alive in Messiah. But it was a welcome home. And then I realized I'm dreaming, I'm here. I can greet all these people, and then I woke up. So it was a rather short, dream-induced lucid dream. That's the first kind of two. A lucid dream that's dream-induced. Again, a lucid dream being defined as a dream that you know you're dreaming in. Starts with a regular dream and goes into lucid and vivid experience. And the second one is a wake-induced lucid dream. That's what we're trying to achieve, and that's what we'll try to go through tonight. And I'll tell you how to get a lucid dream at will. Now, lucid dreams are important for us as believers because having been there many times now, I have gotten answers, and I have gotten happiness and recreation there. seen people there I'd have loved to see. They were there. And you not only know that you're dreaming, but the dream is so real, sometimes you forget that you're dreaming, or you wonder, is this ever going to end, or is this a reality? You don't know. But visiting people, visiting worlds, visiting past civilizations even. And they're all there for us to enjoy, to explore, to discover, and to gain wisdom and knowledge. A good question I think of is, in a lucid dream situation where everything is realistic, maybe real, and you can control every aspect of it with just a short change of your will, what do you want? You can go any place in an instant. I think if we're not bound to this body at this time, what is Torah going to mean to us? What are we going to do in those dreams? Because we could do some really debauched things if we wanted to, and I'm sure that there are many people that seek out lucid dreams for that very purpose. But if we purpose to go and do, whether it's real or not, still, the Spirit can be with us through the experience and can reveal to us in ways that we can't argue with that He is real, and that He is, well, He ever lives to make intercession, but He ever lives to be intimately involved in a person's life. I think about near-death experiences. We've done some programs on that. And I think of the people that testify that they have been completely lively in what seems like a dream or out-of-body experience, where they can go through walls and doors and they can view remotely and they kind of know what's going on. Thousands and thousands of people have had them in the different of the 9 stages of the near-death experience. It's very much like a lucid dream. I think of the people that are imagining themselves going to heaven. I know my mother's elderly. She thinks about this all the time. She knows the theology of the millennium and what the earth is going to mean in that time, but still she's pretty much captivated by old thinking. And that's all right. But she sees visions and dreams of this heavenly place. Well, it's almost a harp playing kind of envisioning. Playing the harp, being up on a cloud, or going to the Golden City and walk down those golden stairs, or walk on top of the water of the river of life, etc. And those kinds of dreams are lucid and vivid, and they reveal things to that person that give them hope that they can cherish when, especially, they're in the stage of isolation or being absorbed into creation again. We're going to try a neurochemistry approach to lucid dreaming. I wonder if you could put on chat, just let me know if you've had what you think has been a lucid dream or not, or maybe if you experience these often. I'd just like to know what the audience here is thinking as I'm talking about these things going on, so I can kind of tailor it a little better, if you can do that. I haven't already explained what that is and what it's like. Some of these dreams are very long. All right. Yes, we got a yes. They're very long. They're going to be longer than any other kind of dreams. 2 yeses. Another yes, many years ago. Sometimes it's not always a good experience, but if you are in the state of mind where you can say, I'm in a dream, then you know no harm's going to come to you. There have been a number of times when I have been in places in lucid dreaming that I couldn't tell anymore. And I went for the lucid dream, yet when I got in there, it was so realistic, so vivid, so personal. I wonder, I think we'll get into a little of that. So personal that when things turned a little awry, I wondered if I was going to wake up. And sometimes there'll be a dream within a dream as well. A neurochemistry approach differs from some of the other approaches to learning lucid dreaming. One approach is using different colored lights and self-suggestion. I tried that for a while. I couldn't get that to work. They have magnetic helmets now that were invented in Sweden, I believe, that at least get you to the point of lucidity. Well, your audio isn't working. Well, we're recording this, so I'll send you a recording. I forgot what I was going to say there. That's all right. Oh, yeah, the helmets, maybe you've read about the experiments with those. They almost get you there. They get you to the very edge of lucidity, and they'll let you go pretty quick. But there are a certain group of naturally occurring chemicals, common chemicals, that they aid in the transfer of electrical impulses. That is to say, this happens in the brain, and certain chemicals will aid or detract from the way the brain chemistry works, to the point where you can actually set, with a very slight variation, you can set up your brain for lucid dreaming, and especially the wake-induced lucid dreaming. That's the one we really want, where we can really get into some visions and revelations, and perhaps a lot of trouble too. Okay, two types. And let's see, I've got some books, if you're really interested in this, that will help, because it's not a 100% thing, but you work toward it. The first time I tried this method, it worked immediately. It worked first time, it's worked every time. One of the books is Advanced Lucid Dreaming, The Power of Supplements. And the other is The Lucid Dreamer, A Waking Guide for the Traveler Between Worlds. Both of these books are religion neutral entirely. They're primarily facts or textbooks, but what I'm going to tell you tonight, you'll be able to have a lucid dream as soon as you get the supplement you need. You don't need to know the rest, but if you wanted to get into it, those are two good books: Advanced Lucid Dreaming and I still can't read it, my writing, The Lucid Dreamer, A Waking Guide for the Traveler. In lucid dreaming, there are two different levels. One's an average level. Most of us have had them, but often we don't remember them when we wake up. The duration of the dream might be 5 or 10 minutes, whereas the lucid dream will go 30 minutes to 2 hours. And there have been times when I have gone for an hour or more, gotten up, woken up completely, went back to sleep, and the dream continues on right where it left off before. If you can call it a dream, it's almost like Alice in Wonderland. The point is, here you wake up and you want to go back. You want to go back. You want to stay a long time. 5 or 10 minutes versus a half hour to 2 hours. Frequency, well, you might be able to have 1 or 2 nights of dreams a week. You want to kind of focus on having 2 or more lucid dreams a week in order to get into the pool and swim a little bit, see what it's like. One of the things that you want to do when you get in there is stay in there for a while. And sometimes when we get started, we are so astounded by what we see, we wake up. It takes a few tries to be able to stay in there. Our sensory vividness in the regular dream, well, the senses seem to function on a low level, I should say low level lucid dream, but in a high level lucid dream, all your senses are functioning. You can hear, you can smell, you can taste, you can feel. Things are tactile, things are solid. Until you say, let this not be solid anymore, or think that, and then they're not solid anymore, or they will morph into other things as your interest builds in whatever the dream situation happens to be. Your senses then are functioning at such an enhanced level, it's as good as being awake. And without the pain, I might add, of being awake. Dream recall, most dreams, they're pretty fuzzy and they go away very fast. And the dream recall for a high-level lucid dream is as good as being awake. Yes, you can wake up in the midst of one and you could write the whole thing down if you possibly could, but most of the time, words don't contain meaning enough to describe what you see and experience. Lucid dreams can be controlled as well. Before you attempt to have a lucid dream, you can set the stage. What do you need to know? Who do you need to know it from? In no lucid dream did I ever feel any evil whatsoever or demonic influence in a lucid dream. Now, otherwise it's a nightmare. We've had plenty of those. But this, the whole feeling is different. It almost feels holy. In many ways, you don't want to take advantage of that. You want to be able to receive that altered state. I went into an altered state Sunday night. Some of you may know. I went to the First United Pentecostal Church here Sunday night down the street. And I had preached in this church 30-some years ago. It was dead as a doornail. Well, I can't say that now. I went into the church when it just started and they were doing praise and worship. This was part of the pneumatology course. I wanted to be an example so other people might consider doing the same thing here. And I tell you what, within 5 minutes in that place, I was in an altered state. And in that altered state, it's as though I could smell the atmosphere. It was, in a sense, like atmosphere of holiness, believe it or not, in that place. And my eyes welled with tears. I was experiencing something out of body. I would hope to think it was the Holy Spirit, but I hadn't had that kind of feeling for many years. And it might have been just a spirit of nostalgia, but it reminded me of lucid dreaming because it was an altered state. In 1969, Dr. Not sure how his name is pronounced, W-E-I-L. He's quite prominent now. He's a psychologist, writes lots of books. He's the guy with a big white beard, doesn't have the beard anymore, he shaved it off. But he wrote a book that was very influential in my life in '69, and the book was given to me. It was called The Natural Mind. And the premise that Vail or Wheel was trying to make was, of course, that was in the very midst of the drug revolution. And he was trying to make a case that using substances like marijuana was harmless, but necessary, because through his research, he had found that every mind desires or needs to get out of itself in experience. And sure enough, that book is a tremendous book. And I just bought it again, reread it after all this time. And I thought, that's right. And I thought about, at that time, there was a tremendous pressure of society and your elders. I think I was 17 or so, 18. Terrible pressure about getting near any of that kind of mind-bending material, even if it was herbal, because such things led to heavy drug addiction, heroin addiction, using needles or dying in an alley. You who are my age, you can recall that time. And if you did any kind of mind-altering things and were caught at it, well, in my state, if you had possession of marijuana, you could get a life sentence. It was ridiculous. But the feeling that you would get from such altered states as that is not like that of lucid dreaming. It's completely clean and real without messing up your mind. You have control of your reason. In an average dream, you have a little bit of control, not much. In a low-level lucid dream or a dream-inspired lucid dream, you have a little bit of control. You have a little bit of knowledge that you might be in a dream, but in the high level, you have excellent knowledge of the reality, all the details, and you can also set dream goals even while you're dreaming. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What insight can you get and where? And you would be surprised at some of the people you're able to find, dead and alive. They're not real people. This is a dream, all right? We look at dreams from a scriptural point of view. Actually, I did a search on dreams today, and I was pretty surprised at the profound numbers of the ancients of our faith who Elohim talked to through dreams. Now, we're in this season called Christmas, and a lot is made of the Holy Family, but if you remember in the Gospel of Matthew, how did Elohim, or the angel of Elohim, speak to Yosef? Tells him to go here and there in a dream, gives him a gift of knowledge in a dream, tells him that if he doesn't leave for Egypt in a dream, he could fall victim to the king, and tells him in a dream when it's time to go back after Herod dies. So that's just one example of many ways. Those are lucid dreams. They're lucid dreams. And if you look at some of the dreams and visions of some of the prophets, and especially in the Revelation, it becomes pretty obvious that if he's envisioning, if he's dreaming, if he's at the third watch, that dreamer knows they're dreaming, knows they're envisioning. And they're able to speak, they're able to identify, and they're able to get answers. In the regular dreams, there is a certain amount of emotional control. A lot of times that emotional control is fueled by fear. There are always fictitious types of material in dreams, frictions and releases, frictions and releases. And we could wake up in a very vivid dream and find out that, thank Elohim, we are not actually in this situation. Whew. Think of falling dreams, what fear there is. If there's no fear, the fall carries no penalty. In the high-level lucid dream, there is no fear because you're totally aware of the dream state. You know you're going to wake up because you're in a dream. Sometimes when you're in a lucid dream and in the lucid dream, you're in a lucid dream, then you get a little mixed up as to what's real and what's not, but you still know that even though this is very real, it still could be a dream. And if I'm going down in the World War II fighter or the bomber, if I'm going down in that situation, I know I'm going to survive. But there's been times when I wasn't sure where, although I knew I was dreaming to some extent. So lots of emotional control in the upper lucid dream. There's a lot of happiness and feelings of joy. As for the control of the will, you might be able to fly. If you have flying dreams, aren't those wonderful? When I have those dreams, all I have to do is put my arms up in the air. And up I go. I have no fear whatsoever of falling. However, if I come to pass into a wall, I can't get through the wall. Bang! Or another falling episode. Bang! It fell. In a high-level lucid dream, nothing can stop you from doing exactly what you want to accomplish or you want to fulfill as a mission. Advanced flying, flying to the middle of the earth, flying to heaven or to hell. You choose. Stay out of hell. Once a dreamer learns the ropes, they can accomplish or experience just about anything at will, even to the extent of unlocking the dream's secrets, because there's always a secret behind the dream. Besides just gathering information, there's a secret there because you're still working something out. But this is the best place to work out that inner feelings that you have acquired or that have acquired you over the course of time. I want to go on to sleep stages now before I get on to the meat of this, which you've learned in school. First is drowsiness. It's important to know for lucid dreaming. Drowsiness lasts 5 to 10 minutes. You could be in and out of a little bit of sleep. You are awakened quite early. There's slow eye movements, slowed muscle movements, if any muscle movements in that state. You might even go to sleeping and waking real quick and feel certain paralysis. Or you might even have a dream in that state. Here's what I dream. And when I'm in that state and not in REM dreaming, I will be pretty much paralyzed, or I'll try to do something and it'll be like, oh, I don't have any dopamine in my body. You know, I just can't do anything fast. If I get in a fight in a dream, which I do a lot, I go, oh. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Time in the car.
Yeah, well, that's just one time. Yeah. Second stage is the light sleep. The eyes completely stop. Brain waves slow down. Sleep spindles are seen in your electroencephalograph. Spindles. I don't know if you've ever worked like in a sleep clinic. I did for a while just to try it out. I want to know something about that. And I got to hook up the sleepers and I got to watch the EEG. And I remember the technicians would point out these spindles during this time of sleep. Almost looks like a brain waves making an actual spinning spindle there in the course of it. And there would be a little bit of a movement there. So we've got the light sleeping, heart rate slowing, body temperatures decreasing before we get into the next stage. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 and 4, delta waves. Those slow wave-like large waves interspersed with smaller, faster waves. By stage 4, actually, only delta waves, the deepest of sleep, deepest of waves, slowest of waves, no eye movements whatsoever, no muscle activity. If you're awakened at that stage, I don't have to tell you how disoriented a person is when they're in deep sleep and awaken. Then we have a period called rapid eye movement, or REM. This is where most of our dreaming is. Perhaps you've watched somebody sleep, or you've felt it yourself in a lucid dream. You can actually feel your eyes darting back and forth very rapidly as your breathing increases. Your limbs might become paralyzed in REM. The heart increases, as does your blood pressure at that time. Some people are known to have strokes during REM, that their blood pressure goes so high. Males develop erections. Now you know, it's the REM sleep. This is the dream sleep, and certain chemicals cause these different types of sleep stages, neurotransmitters in the brain. A neurotransmitter is a chemical that is one of several, so I'll read them off in a minute, that facilitates, it's found in every brain cell, and it facilitates a slight electrical charge to be generated in that cell. So when you think of electricity going through your brain waves, it is electricity, but it's more a chemical reaction, because in between the brain cells is synapses. One brain cell will have a fist, the other will have a palm, and there'll be a very small gap between the two. And when an electric current is applied here, then that will generate a squirting out of one of these several or more of these several brain transmitting chemicals. Those chemicals that are squirted out are uptaken by the next cell to generate a tiny bit of electricity. But before too much is generated, this palm will suck back the chemical, will reuptake that neurotransmitter. So you might see where we have a little problem with that kind of a system. It's an electrochemical system, and there are a lot of components there. It's just not like a half a volt goes through a brain length of cells. The chemical has to be in there. If you have a deficiency in the chemical, which can happen through trauma, by inheritance, genetics, by living in a difficult situation in life, or having to deal with very hurtful circumstances, that can change your brain chemistry and the way that those neurotransmitters go from brain nerve cell to nerve cell. They can shoot out too much of a particular chemical. They can shoot the wrong chemical. The reuptake will not happen sometimes if you're in a condition of the changing of your brain chemistry, and it won't reuptake a certain chemical, or it'll reuptake too much. These days, we have identified deficiencies in brain chemistry that they have been thought to be the cause of depression and other types of mental illness. There's been developed a whole new chain of drugs to try to counteract that. One are the serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, a class of drugs that deal with two brain chemicals, serotonin and norepinephrine. And what they do, a depressed person doesn't have enough of those chemicals. And so the drug keeps this cup, keeps it from reuptaking what it already shot out. That's why it's called a reuptake inhibitor. Man, that's hard to explain. So the drug will interfere with the action of the reuptake from this one and allow more of a particular chemical to get through. And probably the most important there are the acetylcholine and the serotonin. Acetylcholine has to do with your being alert and awake and active. Serotonin, of course, we hear a lot about that today. People don't have enough of that and they feel tired and run down and depressed and just feel melancholic all the time. So the drug will help the nerve cells to get more of the chemicals they need to get the electrical charge to move. As I say, acetylcholine is also for movement, but it's more excitable movement. And another one of the chemicals there is dopamine. Dopamine helps you in your muscle movement. And those are the three I wanted to mention because, let's see, I missed one. Norepinephrine, serotonin, acetylcholine, and dopamine. These are all important for dreaming and lucid dreaming in particular. They can be easily affected. Depression itself will affect these particular brain chemicals and inhibit them or cause too much to flow. And they can have very serious consequences for the human mind. Food can make a difference there too. Herbs, we often don't know what herbal medicine is doing to our brain chemicals. Body chemistry may change in many ways to cause a chemical imbalance in the brain. Affects how long or even if we go to sleep or get through the sleep cycle, which is extremely important to get through that sleep cycle first before you do your lucid dreaming. That includes REM. Serotonin and acetylcholine in particular affect REM sleep greatly. In fact, one author I read said that those chemicals were actually they were the cause of why we do REM sleeping. And okay, let's put it this way. I'm going to give you an example here. In the mid-90s, I've got to do myself again because people don't really talk about this very much, especially these days. In the 90s, the pastoral ministry I was in, I was quite depressed. It was very hard. It was a thankless job, really. And I read a book called Speaking to Prozac. And there were testimonies in there of people that started using serotonin and acetylcholine and norepinephrine uptake inhibitors and how much better they felt. So I thought, I want to feel normal. I went to the doctor about this, tried 4 different types. None of them had any effect on me at all until the 5th one, the drug called Effexor or venlafaxine, which I still take today. It had an immediate effect on me. And I thought at the time, for the first time in my life, I feel normal when that kicked in. So that's nearly 30 years ago, I guess. But this is where I really got the lesson about lucid dreaming. When I had first started taking that medicine, I suppose for a month, I came across here to Vero to visit my mother, and I forgot the medicine. And so we were having a jolly time over here, and we'd eaten some chocolate candies and different things. Chocolate candies especially. I thought, these have got to be drugged. Because that night, I had an incredible lucid dream, first one, that was full blown. It scared me. And I thought the chocolates poisoned me. But it was due to an effect called REM rebound. The drug Effexor, it slows down REM sleep at first. It decreases REM sleep. But then as you get used to the drug, your REM goes back to normal again. Okay? Well, when you don't take it a couple of days, you have this REM rebound effect where all of a sudden you're REMing like crazy all night because that medication's not there anymore to inhibit it. And so if you're REMing and you've got such a load of serotonin and norepinephrine in there going at night, that's going to affect your dreams. But I didn't know what it was then. And then when I got over that, I went back to sleep and it happened again. It happened all night. I was fearful because I was ignorant. Not that anything in the dream was harmful to me. It could have been fun. But because of the REM suppression and then the rebound effect, well, it really woke me up to the whole process. Okay. A couple of things that will really inhibit your dreaming is, of course, alcohol and marijuana. Both of those. What alcohol and marijuana both do is suppress REM sleep. But if you can clean those out, if you can go without alcohol, if you're an alcoholic, you want to dream, you will also be able to take advantage of that REM rebound effect. Because when you're done with the stuff that inhibits the REM for a couple of days, you're going to be dreaming all night, even if you never dreamed much before. So it can be a valuable tool for lucid dreamers. Right, I think it's about time to tell how. I was going to go into what an antagonist and an agonist is and all this, but you could read about that if you're really interested. I think really what you'd like to do is find out a way to have this, at least experiment with it and try it out. Okay, so there are a number of common chemicals, supplements we call them, that can be purchased over the counter that have no harmful side effects when used according to directions, that will aid a person, not only aid, but give you 90% certainty that you'll be able to have that lucid dream when you want to, and up to 2 or 3 a week. If you're a mystic, you'll want to do this. If you're looking for greater truth, say, I'm opening my mind to the devil. No, you're not. No, you're not. You better be born again before you do this and filled with the Holy Spirit. Yes. But this is a natural way that you can access, not powers of darkness. We don't know what, except it's holy and good. It always has been, for me anyway. One of those chemicals is galantamine. Sells for $14 to $25, any herb store or online. This is another substance that the FDA is trying to lock away, and actually drug companies have put a patent on the artificial brand, the synthesized brand, Gallant Amine. Galantamine is used for Alzheimer patients and those with memory problems because it's been proved in many trials, many tests, that galantamine aids in restoring memory and helps to treat medium to low level, stage Alzheimer disease. That's what it does to the synapses to make the brain work better. It's an acetylcholine reuptake inhibitor. What you're doing is you're supplying through galantamine more acetylcholine, so the cell transmission process is going to be faster and better. This particular substance thus allows the dreamer to go immediately into REM sleep. Immediately. But what we want to do is not go immediately. We want to go through a whole sleep cycle first. And then we want to go into the REM and the lucid dream. The only one I'm really going to mention for trying is galantamine, because it's the easiest and the fastest. And here's how you do it. You get yourself a bottle, and you'll probably want it mixed with choline. You can just get it on Amazon or any place. Galantamine, 8 milligrams with 200 micrograms of choline, or something similar to that. Don't get anything else mixed in with it, because there's a number of different formulas that I saw online. And like I said, I saw it for $14 to $25. And what you're normally going to get there are 30 pills. You say, oh, that's a lot to spend. Well, it only takes one pill to go into lucidity. And the wake-induced lucid dream. The galantamine causes the brain to make more acetylcholine. That's one of the fast brain transmitting acids. Faster. And it's something that will, of course, within, actually the peak is about 7 hours for galantamine, and it's out of your system in 48 hours. Although there is paroxetine, which you might have heard of if you're a health freak, and that will take that if you want in the morning, and it will take the galantamine completely out of your system entirely. So that's the ticket. A planned lucid dream. What do you want to dream about? You might want to change your state of mind as well. You must have high expectations of it happening. Avoid exhaustion or overtly depression. This is going to maximize your success if you condition your brain to what you want to do. Think about your desired environment to start, because once you transist into the lucid dream from the waking state, you're going to be able to pick where you want to go and your environment. Think about what your desired environment is. Religious experience? Yes. Get into the spirit? What do you think these desert fathers did? This is something you could dig right out of the ground. What about if you want a holy experience, why don't you prepare yourself with Bible, with prayer, hymns, meditations? Watch out for Vivid TV. Don't want to watch the sixth season of The Walking Dead before you do this. However, if you end up in that situation, you just hold out your fist like this, and spirit lasers will come out and burn them all up. Then you laugh about it and walk away. Ha ha ha. This is real, and I destroyed them all. You need to have the right supplements, take them at the right time. Did I say? After 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Go to bed as usual, set the alarm for 4 or 5 hours, get up, take your galantamine, and go back to sleep. That's how it works. You get through that sleep cycle and you start the sleep cycle again, only this time, when you shut your eyes and fall asleep, you'll go right into REM, assuming that you've left enough time for that galantamine to start working, maybe 20 minutes. You need to have patience. These supplements are not sleep aids. They do not enhance sleep at all. In fact, they're antagonistic to sleep. So you don't need to take much. I'll tell you what the others are in a minute. They're not sleeping pills. They're just the opposite. So when you take it, you're going to want to go back to sleep. You lie down, be quiet. Don't talk to yourself. Don't try to figure things out. Don't flop around. Just go back to sleep. Pray that the Father helps you in the dream, that you can find what you're looking for, or at least that you can make the transition. Then, when you get to the transition, you're going to know it. You're just going to realize it. No more red lights, mask with red lights and that stuff. Not necessary. Just don't get so excited you wake. That happens to me sometimes. I get excited and I wake up. I'm really often having fun playing. That's what I do in my dreams. Lucid dreams. I'm with a gang of kids and I'm playing. That's the only place I play. Or I'm on the sports field playing. Or I'm in music playing. I can be here and there and everywhere. I can be in any music group I want. It's a total freeing experience when you get familiar with the territory. Yeah, I just want to tell you the other chemicals. Again, if you have trouble with it, the next day you get up, pop a paracetam. That's another natural occurring substance. What did I just say I was going to do? I need to take some of this chemical. I think my mind is going sometimes. Oh yeah, some of the other agents that will work as well. Only one of the other agents I've tried, and that is galantamine and nicotine. You would get up, take your galantamine. People that use that for lucid dreaming usually use a piece of a patch or nicotine gum. I don't know whether they smoke a cigarette or not, but they'll chew a stick of nicotine gum because it takes very little. Nicotine is a very powerful dream chemical. Another one is yohimbe bark. It's the bark of a... What's that? No, it's not. It's not. I said that's a synthetic kind. It's the prescription. It's a synthetic kind. Some farmer got a hold of the chemical and they made some of it and they sell it to Alzheimer patients. But go to a good supplements place. I found all over online, even on Amazon. Now, whether it couldn't be illegal in your country. It just couldn't be. It's harmless. And it'll help your brain. But if not, yes, I know it's terrible. I had a side business going here that was helping me real well, and the bottom just fell out of it because of the FDA and some of the vendors I use, some of their policies. They're going right along with the FDA. Well, you know, I wanted to say something about inhibitors. I'll give you another example why I'm thinking about it, and that is the kratom, you know, I've been talking about. Now I'm a year into using kratom every day. What it does is it is an uptake inhibitor. Well, get you some of this galantamine then. The kratom, the molecules in kratom go into the receptors for opium and don't allow opium in. You drink some kratom, take yourself 5, 6 benzodiazepams. They won't do a thing to you. The receptor's already full. It gives you something of the same effect, but it's not addictive. I'll tell you, in my state of pain, if I hadn't found this, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. But that's just an example of an inhibitor. Yohimbine is also perfectly legal. It's made from the bark of a tree. I got some in here. I haven't tried any of it for years. Usually people buy that to, it's supposed to enhance sexual desire. But in the doses they give you, if I take them, why would I want to do that? I mean, I don't even have a tree in the yard. It just wakes me up and I want to move, do something. You just take a little bit of yohimbine because any more than very little bit of a dose is going to cause you to be an insomniac, but just enough in the same time period as you take the galantamine, or take them together. Now that I'm back in, I haven't been into this for several years. I'm going to get out that old bottle of yohimbe bark and give it a try. It's a great gift for newlyweds, I can tell you that. A third, well, I said nicotine, galantamine, yohimbe bark, choline. Choline, you should have that in your galantamine supplement, 200 micrograms there. What else do I have here? I know there's another one that is readily available. I'm sure I wrote it down, but I can't even read my notes, and Lee's distracting me something fierce over here.
Yeah, I'm dancing on the organ over there.
Yeah, right. I can't see it right now, but those 3 you can get if you want to try. Or there is a little bit of a problem with getting used to the galantamine. So that's why you could do it every day if you wanted, except you'll get used to it. If an 8 milligram dose is too much, 4 will do too. I noticed most of those bottles, the tablets are in 4 milligrams. I've tried it with nicotine and I've tried it with choline. They both worked immediately. The nicotine, no, the melatonin inhibits REM. Melatonin will kill it. It's a hormone. What? Melatonin? It's a hormone. Yeah. It kills your sleep, and when you get off melatonin, you get REM rebound effect. If you've gotten to a higher dose of melatonin, that's a funny chemical. For me, it causes, the results are, who knows what's going to happen. You take melatonin, you really ought to get off that, even if it helps you sleep. Now I'm giving nutritional advice. So, well, you're not here unless you were interested in this, and I didn't figure too many people would be. But if you are, you might be more interested in some of the mystical concepts and constructions of your faith. And I know some of you are seeking, wouldn't step foot in a Pentecostal church and get a natural high, like I did Sunday. So give this a try, but prepare yourself for it. And if it doesn't work the first time, do it a couple of times. You're not going to lose any sleep over it. You look at these chats, if there's anything there.
We've got one of those books will be in our library.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes. In fact, I think you did. We have that Lucid Dreaming book, one of them. It's really good. Easy to read. It's all facts and experiences. If anybody's interested in that, we'll set it up as read only, and you can take a look at it since it's copyright. We go back to the question, do you think that if we sin in a lucid dream that it's accounted the same as sinning in real life? I've sinned in a lucid dream. Like I said, I've had a lot of them. And I'll tell you one thing that you feel. You feel in the dream ashamed of yourself, and when you wake up, you remember it all as though it was real. And yes, you're ashamed of yourself. Is it a sin? No, I don't think so. But if you want to misbehave with your spiritual background, even in that state, you'll pay some consequences. Let me see. Yeah, I'm sorry. Australia is very liberal, isn't it? Melatonin. What's melatonin's prescription there? That's amazing. Well, we could send you something in the mail. If galantamine's illegal, I'll send you some. I'm against the FDA. I think what they're doing is horrible. Here's a statement from Aria to Lee.
Send you to jail.
Tell Lee, thank you for all the scanning. Amen. I was thinking we named that library the Lee Hayhurst Memorial Theological Library, but Lee's still alive.
We can name it Mignon. I don't mind.
Okay, we'll name it the Mignon Snyder Library. Any other questions? Is anybody going to try this? Well, always give me a report. Because, again, this will lead to some spiritual insight. And I'm going to do it again, too. I'm going to get some galantamine and give it a try. Because here, let me tell you why. You know I suffer from depression. But whenever I have these dreams, I feel wonderful.
Good question.
Cleans your whole brain chemistry out. You have such a time. There's such wonderful people there.
Good question. Now, what's the difference between doing this and doing something like ayahuasca?
Oh, a lot of difference.
All right, what?
Ayahuasca, that stuff is a psychoactive drug and a dangerous drug.
Well, I imagine some of the things done the right way, in moderation, to slightly alter the mental state.
Well,
that's safe.
That stuff is what happens with that. This is what would scare me about it. Is entities come after you. Entities come up from the pit of hell or someplace and talk to you, and the testimonies I've read, the people do that in order to get these, conjure up these entities to give them all kinds of wisdom, elves and little animals.
That's been some people's experience.
But the key is they don't remember any of it when they're done. I just read testimonies on YouTube about it when our friend was going to try it out, see what they had to say. You know what they're talking about? Yes, it was. Usually they're already mixed, and the choline amount doesn't make that much difference, but it probably needs to be in there because they work together real well. Yes, I can spell out the substances. Galantama. There's one. Galantamine. Here's yohimbe. If you want to try yohimbe, you'll have a very active dream, yes. But get in touch with me for more directions on that because that's a little trickier as to when to take it. And then there's nicotine. Did I spell that right? Yeah, there it is. Nicotinic acid. Where can you get that? Right down at the vape store. You don't need to buy that expensive stuff. Get a $13 bottle of vape juice and rub it on your skin. There's a couple more. For some reason, they're not coming to me right now.
They're in the book, probably.
Yeah. Here's, oh. Trigger combinations. Don't start with nicotine. Start with galantamine. Don't consume alcohol. Go to bed around 10:30. Sleep peacefully till 3:30 and get up. It's better if you can wake yourself up naturally. Now you can. If you set your mind to that, you'll wake up some around that time without the use of an alarm clock. But if you must use one, set the volume just loud enough to be effective.
Or one of those crescendo. They have those crescendo ones.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Get up and go to the toilet. Then take your galantamine and 250 to 500 milligrams of choline bitartrate or choline citrate with a cup of water. Yeah, that varies. I looked at another source for that. If you feel overly groggy because you want to wake up, stretch a little, no more than about 5 minutes. Remember that you don't want to fall immediately back to sleep because you want to transition into sleep after the supplements have started working. So you want to lay there and be quiet for 20 minutes. Lie back in bed. Lie on your back with your hands by your sides. Make sure you're comfortable. When you first lie down, go over your intentions 3 times. Tell yourself something like, the next thing I will experience will be a dream. I will recognize the dream state and become lucid. While I'm in the dream, I will fill in whatever you want to do, and so on. After you go over this 3 times, quiet the mind. Whenever you find that you're thinking to yourself, just casually stop. Don't get frustrated if you find your internal voice keeps talking. Just keep letting it go without paying much attention. After 20 minutes, turn on your side.
I've understood, I read in that book, if you look and try to think of what time it is and you can't think of it, that means you're lucid dreaming. I think it was in that book I read that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Men should lie on the right side, women on the left side. Now, just calmly relax and be patient. It may very well take you over an hour to fall asleep the first few times you try it. This is due to the acetylcholine levels building up, combining with your own excitement. Excitement increases the norepinephrine levels, that's why. It becomes easier after a few successful attempts. Just let me say, this is all, it's worked every time for the first time for me. And I've only used the galantamine probably 5 times, because if I want a lucid dream, all I have to do is not take my Effexor for 2 days. I've never dreamed I could experience worlds that I've been into in lucid dreams. Primitive worlds, worlds in other planets, everything perfectly organized, completely real. And I always felt like there was a companion with me. And I felt it was a holy companion. You too, huh? After you've gone in and explored a bit, I suggest you consciously wake yourself up. This is as easy as just deciding to do so from within the dream. It will help keep the memories fresh and vivid. Then get up and write everything down. I would suggest you didn't do that. Enjoy the dream. It's like being on a surfboard. You just keep going and going. See how long you can do it. Remember when we used to chew bubble gum so you could blow the biggest bubble before it popped? That's like a lucid dream. All right, I've gone over my time, but I like the subject. I'll study a little more into it. And I thank you for coming. It's been real, huh? Now I got one song to sing, and I'll sing it as we go. I'll see you in my dreams, hold you in my dreams. There will be, I forgot the rest of the song. Good night.